What up, folks? Dale here, and this is Carry Therapy. So I've been owning and carrying guns now for almost 20 years. And within those 20 years, I've done a good bit of traveling. A lot of those trips was by plane, and none of those trips involved me carrying my firearm with me until last weekend. So I took a business trip to Houston, and in the midst of planning, I thought it'd be cool for me to travel with one of my guns. After all, when it comes to 2A, Texas is known to be pretty open, probably the most open state in the country. On top of the fact that I always like to keep a gun on me, it made sense to try it now. So I said, why not? And also it was a business trip, but I knew I would have some downtime and thought I may want to explore the city a bit. So I thought I'd share my experience with you all to let you see it's not much of a hassle and it's not much involved to make it happen. But before I get started, I did just want to say this is not legal advice. I'm going to tell you what I experienced, but you need to do your own research. Make sure you know the laws in your state as well as the state that you're traveling to. That's imperative, because you know what they say, ignorance is no excuse. But anyway, I was set to travel to Houston through United Airlines. So what I did was I went on the website and I searched Firearm to see what I can find on flying with a firearm and what the requirements are. Side note, it's never an easy section to find on any airline website. I've always had to search it, which is kind of weird. But anyway, found a page that explained exactly what you need, and per the requirements, it said you needed to have your firearm unloaded in a locked case and in a checked bag. So I think it's key that I say this again. It needs to be in a checked bag. It is illegal to carry a firearm through TSA in a carry-on, or of course on your person. So do not do that. It has to be in a checked bag. And yes, you have to pay for a checked bag in almost every single airline out there. No, you don't get it waived because you have a firearm. If you make the choice to carry your firearm on your trip, you will have to pay for a checked bag. Just is what it is. So that's for the gun itself. Ammo had to be in a manufacturer's box. So the box that it came in, or it had to be in a case specifically designed for ammo. So that means you can't have your ammo in a Ziploc bag, or it can't be loose in your bag. But your ammo also had to be in a check bag. Yes, the ammo can be in the same check bag as the gun. However, per United, you cannot have ammo in the same locked case as the firearm, but it can be in the same check bag. So just to clarify, I had one check bag for my trip, both the gun and I had 2 boxes of ammo in the same check bag. So now my decision is, which one of my guns do I take on my trip? I chose my trusted dusty Glock 43X. Why? Because it's small, I can conceal it pretty easily. And with the Shield Arm mags, it holds 15 plus 1 rounds, and I carry 2 mags, so I'd have 31 rounds. So that's plenty. I think one thing that I failed to mention is the lockbox that you put your gun in. You have to have a physical lock on it as well, to where you have either the key or the combination to it. And you have to be prepared to unlock it on demand if they either need to see your firearm or if TSA needs to see it. So, packing. So I had to make sure my gun was fully unloaded. I had to make sure the magazines were unloaded, and I put it in my lockbox. The lockbox that I personally use is a stop box. If you don't know what a stop box is basically like a retention system to where no one can easily access your firearm. And it has finger grooves on it to where you can set a combination based on, finger presses. It's pretty cool. So I put my gun in my stop box. I locked it with a combination lock, and I put it in my luggage. I also took 2 boxes of critical defense ammo, so I also put those in the luggage as well. So when it came time to go to the airport, I had to go to the counter and declare my firearm. Also, one thing I failed to mention, one of the requirements as well is that if you're declaring a firearm, you can't check in through your mobile app. You can't check in at a kiosk. You had to go to the desk and speak with an attendant at the desk and let them know that you're declaring the firearm, which I did. And I also took some footage so I can show you what the process looks like. Take a look. Excuse me. I wanted to declare a firearm. Do I need to continue here first, or?
Already checked in.
Don't open it. Let me just see the case.
Okay.
Okay, leave it here because somebody else have to verify it. Okay. Ashley. Okay. It's right here. Oh, fire. Good. Good. And your final destination is Houston?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you please sign and date? Here's a pen.
Thank you.
Do me a favor and put them somewhere else. It's just if anybody gets into your bag and they grab, it's harder. They gotta tumble to look.
Got you. So it's tougher from the...
Yeah, that the opposite side. Anytime you're traveling with it, that's how you should do it. Makes it much harder for them.
Right.
That's why we gotta do two signatures. Somebody did something. Now you can put it back.
But it also, could the ammo also go in the box?
No.
No.
So you sign in that here. It's not loaded, it's not in the box. So in this zipper, put this. So don't move. And this scan it, they're gonna see it. Besides the firearm, is there anything else for you to grab in the bag?
Oh, no.
Let me ask you about this. So this is like a go cam? Or
Yes, it's a 360 cam, so I make YouTube content about firearms and safety and stuff. So just trying to share my experience on like traveling.
and the next I wanna make sure this is locked up.
Yes.
So when you arrive in Houston, I don't know how it works there. You may have to go to security to grab your bag, or it might be on a carousel. I really don't know how it works.
Okay.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you. You have a good day. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. All right, not too bad, right? Pretty straightforward. I went to the counter, let them know I wanted to declare a firearm. With United Airlines, they had 2 attendants check the lockbox to make sure that all lockable areas were locked on the box. I was surprised they didn't want to see the gun, but I wasn't upset about it either. So now I get on the plane, I get to Houston, and I don't really know exactly what to expect because before I left, the attendant said that she wasn't sure how it would work in Houston, if I would have to go to security to get my luggage or if it'll come down the carousel. But I went and stood by the carousel. My bag was one of the first bags to come out. So I grabbed it, headed out the door. I hopped in the Uber and pushed to the city. So when I got to my room, after scoping the room, one of the first things I did was I took my gun out the lockbox, loaded up the magazines, put one in the head, holstered up and took a journey. So one thing I did want to mention though, when you're traveling with a firearm and you're staying in a hotel, one of the first things you want to look for is the room safe. And almost every hotel has a room safe. Why? Because whenever you're not carrying it, you want to make sure you lock it up, because you don't want any unwanted hands on your gun. That includes housekeeping, unfortunately. You don't know who they have on staff, so you can't really trust that they won't go through your things. So be on the safe side, put it in the safe. No pun intended. So yeah, I travel for business. So whenever I ventured out for business, I had my gun in the stock box. I put the entire stock box in the safe, as well as my ammo. Whenever I was on leisure, I holstered up and went about my business. So once my trip was coming to an end and it was time to return home, when I got to the Houston airport, the process was exactly the same. I had to go to a desk. I had to have 2 attendants look at the lockbox. They didn't ask to take the gun out the case. I signed a declaration card, put the card in the bag, sent the bag on its way, and I was on my way. Then when I got back home, it was the same thing again. Bag was on the carousel, I grabbed it, hopped in the car, and went home. That's simple. So this goes to show you, it's a very simple process. There's nothing to it. Honestly, I was one of the folks that thought it was a tough process. You had to get authorized somehow. Maybe there was a lot of paperwork, etc., etc. But no, not at all. You just make sure you know the laws of the state that you're traveling to. I do want to make sure I say that again. You just follow the guidelines of the airline. You make sure it's in the lock box. Make sure there's a lock on it. Make sure it's unloaded. Make sure your ammo's in the appropriate box or case. Make sure everything's in the check bag. Check in at the desk with an attendant. Let them know you're declaring a firearm. And that's pretty much it. Nothing to it, right? So if you were ever in doubt about carrying your gun on a flight, hopefully this helped convince you that you can do it too. But that makes me ask, are there any of you out there with the experience of flying with a firearm? If so, drop it down in the comments. Or if you have a trip coming up and maybe this swayed your views on it, let me know. I'd like to have a conversation. Also, anyone with experience on other airlines, I'd like to know too, because I'm still pretty new to flying with the firearm myself. So I'd like to know like the, similarities and differences of other airlines. So let me know down in the comments what your experiences are like. Also, in the meantime, like, subscribe, and join the therapy session. Till next time.